What up, Dokkaners? It appears that I am psychic. Shout out to Maverick for the info here. We've got Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, and it looks like they're going to be releasing on the 28th on global. CST indicates Central Standard Time, which is great because this pretty much falls in line with exactly what I had predicted. Now, based on my prediction, I do have a very strong idea where Beast Gohan will ultimately be showing up. So because of that, I wanted to discuss it in today's video by going over the projected schedule for 2022. This took some time for me to kind of, redistribute all the various banners and think about how the timing would work, but I feel like this is probably the most logical way it's going to play out, but we'll see what ultimately happens. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Halloween banner, this is not a JP thing, this is a global thing, which is why the fact that JP is going to be getting this a little bit earlier than global kind of makes sense. So here's my thought process behind all of this. Pan Dokkan Fest is going to be ending on the 19th, as is the Kid Goku Dokkan Fest. So both versions are going to be concluding their Dokkan Festival Part 1s basically at the same time. JP will then jump into the Halloween celebration, while Global then has to get through Fasha and Cheeto. The celebration for Halloween, though, for JP... Did I say Cheeto? Chilai. The Halloween celebration for JP is not like it is on Global. For Global, we get the usual, free-to-play SSRs, the Extreme Z area. I can't believe I said Cheeto. We get all the free-to-play goodies for the Halloween stuff, but then we also get this, the Full of Surprises Dokkan Festival, which is basically just a cash grab, a way to get more of your stones by giving you a bunch of random Dokkan Festival SSRs from throughout the year. These units are pretty decent for their time, because last year when these units dropped in this banner, they're not bad, but it's definitely not worth spending your stones on, given what else is on the horizon. But that's what they would do exclusively on Global. Looking at the JP side of things, they did not do that. Looking at this, we had all the same free-to-play stuff, but there was no banner. So I think they're going to be getting a banner for the first time in here, and that will be kind of how they transition out of the Kid Goku Dokkan Fest. And that makes sense because that is the most logical way to integrate the Gamma 1 and 2 without causing a catastrophic shift or seismic shift basically in all of the different subsequent celebrations moving forward. This Halloween banner, whether or not Gamma 1 and 2 were going to be there, was going to be a thing on Global. Make no mistake. This was going to still be there to try to get some stones from all of you innocent Dokkaners who are either new or clueless or just don't really know any better, right? Sometimes you just see a banner and you just summon. That's literally what I did when I started playing this game. So they're trying to capitalize on that. So at least integrating the Gamma 1 and 2 into that not only prevents another banner from surfacing, but it also provides this banner with a little bit more value. I don't think ultimately these units are going to be worth summoning for, in my humble opinion, but of course we have to wait and see what they are capable of. But this is how I think they can integrate it on Global and JP. So JP will be getting their banner earlier because there is no prior, installment that happens at that time for Halloween. So that will be a new banner for them, and it will be a rehash for us, but happening a week later. And it makes sense because we've got this to kind of bridge the gap. So with part 2 being double rates, then we get Halloween, and then we move on to the rest of the year. So this is going to be my projected schedule. I said predicted or projected? Projected schedule for 2022. The thank you celebration, I think, is going to remain as Trunks and Vegeta, because Trunks and Vegeta was definitely tethered to the 7-year LRs in the Christmas celebration. And I think that has to continue on Global. So with Thank You Celebration Part 1 being in early November, Trunks and Vegeta showing up is a good thing because they are a good unit. However, they show up on a pretty questionable banner. So they're going to be showing up in Part 1, and then in Part 2, I'm pretty sure we're just going to get the Zamasu. At this point, with Pan showing up now, Zamasu might as well show up, because these two units, based on how things played out last year, they were supposed to show up during the new year. This was supposed to be Part 1, Zamasu was supposed to be Part 2. I don't think that really matters or applies anymore, given how we are now in the 200% meta and all that stuff. These guys are cool, but I don't think that they're going to be units that have to be held onto for as long as they are. So I think Part 2 will be Zamasu. If Part 1's banner is too questionable for you, Part 2 might be more enticing, because a lot of people, I've seen your comments, y'all have been talking about the various banners that you want to summon for. They're here. Question is, can you survive the gauntlet with all of these different banners showing up? Middle of November will be Part 2 for Zamasu. Then moving on to bridge the gap between the Thank You Celebration and the early holiday special, we are getting the Dragon Ball Heroes Celebration. I made this little Dokkan Festival thing. I am just holding on to that hope that we get more. I want Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breakers. Anyway, November 25th to December 8th, that will be when the Dragon Ball Heroes festivities kicks off. And then moving into the pre-holiday season. Now, here's where I think there could be a bit of a change. I think this could either play out as the Part 1 of the Dokkan Fest being Kid Goku from December 2nd until the 23rd, And then the Christmas Celebration Part 1, which has just a random legendary summon. This could end up being the Golden Frieza. I have them scheduled for the new year, so I could totally see the Resurrection F series kind of shifting in here while the Kid Goku shifts out into the new year. But I'm just going to keep it like this because this kind of matches last year a little bit. The first celebration that JP got after the worldwide download, that was what Global got as the pre-holiday banner. So to kind of preserve that pattern, I'm just going to put this here, but it's very possible that could be shifted. Kid Goku as this pre-holiday banner. Then the Christmas banner, we would get this, just nothing, because there is no part 2 for Kid Goku as of yet. So I'm inclined to think that this is just going to be some sort of a random legendary summon, again, to try to get more stones from random people. This would obviously be one of those clear and obvious skips. And then going into part 2 during the actual Christmas time, that would be the thank you celebration for JP coming back. So this is where we would get Trunks and Vegeta on the same banner as the 7 years, as well as a ton of different SSRs with some incredible value. So this is a good banner, but the only problem is it's going to be so diluted that trying to get the units that you really want might be a little bit difficult. So for those of you who are considering skipping the thank you celebration for Trunks and Vegeta to try to get them during the Christmas celebration, just keep in mind of that risk. And then moving into the new year, we've got the New Year celebration for Resurrection F, Part 1 and Part 2, in tandem with the New Year step up. So for those players who are more new, that really just want to get a good bargain, they will probably go for the New Year step up, one of the most valuable banners of the entire year. And then for those of you who are veterans who have nothing else to spend on and have somehow survived all of these different banners, will either summon for Exchange Goku or Golden Frieza, or maybe just not all together. So this is what I think is going to be playing out for the rest of the year. Now, one very obvious glaring omission is there is a significant lack of Beast Gohan. If this is going to be the movie collaboration for Part 2, where the heck is Beast Gohan? Like I said in my previous video, I think that we are building up towards an epic Part 3 where we actually get a full-on movie collaboration where we get Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, Cell Max, and all of those units. That will be where we really just kick off in a major way with the superhero celebration. The question is it going to be happening simultaneously or is it going to be happening separately? Based on how things played out for the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, this is probably not going to be the case, because if you guys recall, Gogeta released in December 2018 for JP, which is right after the movie came out for JP, and then for Global, well, in the United States, it came out January 16th, and look at where it dropped for Global, 13th of February. So I don't think we're going to be getting Superhero Celebration at the same time. And now you're not going to like this, Global players, but here's my very strong prediction. I think, not in terms of what I want, but in terms of what I think is probably the most logical way to play this out. Global, you're gonna have to wait because JP's probably gonna be getting the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Celebration with Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, which is in late January. This lines up with how things have been progressing with parts 1 and 2 of the movie collaboration. Back in the summer, either in July or August, sometime around then, JP received that SSR AGL movie Gohan, at which point nothing else happened. Then we are getting this Halloween little mini integration of the Gamma 1 and 2, which happened a couple of months after the movie Gohan released as an SSR. That's part 2. If you then throw in a couple more months after that, at the end of January, that constitutes about a 3-month gap, you then get the actual superhero celebration in its entirety. And that does line up in terms of how they've sort of been building this up. Of course, it's not been ideal, it's been a little weird, but this does make a lot of sense. And of course, when we look at Dokkan scheduling, we have to frame it in terms of JP, because JP is the primary version, as much as I hate to admit it. So in terms of JP's perspective, this makes a lot of sense. This also fits with the logic that they had said recently in their worldwide download celebration video. I don't even know when they said it. They said something about the 8th year anniversary is going to feature characters that have never before been featured in Dokkan Fest or in anniversaries or something of that effect. I don't know exactly what the wording was, but it was something like that, which basically eliminates immediately Vegito. A lot of people were thinking Vegeta was going to be the 8th year anniversary because this year was Gogeta, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think superhero makes the most sense, which means global players, you're going to have to wait until July or what was it, July, August, the summertime of the next year. Now, that seems like a horrible thing to have to go through, to have to sit tight and wait. But in terms of silver lining, if we try to look at this through a positive lens, keep in mind, folks, you have to survive this gauntlet first. I've seen all of your comments, all the different banners you guys want to be summoning on. I've been making polls about this sort of thing. People want different things, and it's going to be very difficult for a lot of players to even navigate through all of this with all of their stones intact. So after all of this, if you guys do end up summoning on some of the discounts on some of these banners, maybe, you know, you take a chance here and there, how many stones are you really going to be having left if we were to get some sort of a joint celebration in January? That could end up being disastrous for some of you. So in an attempt to try to look at this in a glass half full sort of situation, you have now been given the gift of time where you can save for the rest of the new year in ultimately summoning for the 8th year anniversary, which is basically what we were trying to do up until this point for the 7-year anniversary. So history repeats itself once again, folks. I think that this is going to be how it plays out. Let's see if I'm even close to being correct. We should be getting news very, very soon. But in the meantime, this is when Gamma 1 and 2 will be dropping on global. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about my prediction for the schedule, for how things are going to be shaping out for these banners? Which banners are you struggling to try to decide on, if you want to summon on them or skip them? And when do you think superhero Beast Gohan will make his debut on global? Do you think it's going to be an 8th year anniversary sort of thing? Or do you think this is going to be some sort of a joint venture with JP? Let me know what and how in the comments down below. Also be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll let each know going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.